Hello everyone, welcome back to another convention review video. This time we're reviewing Ozokucon, a first-year convention for 2025. Let's get into it. If you don't know who I am or what I do, my name is Rachel. I go to different anime and comic cons with my voice acting event slash activity slash thingamabob. And I bring my recording booth because I am a voice actor, and people enter, record their own dialogue for original characters, and then we showcase them here on the channel. Normally, how this works is either I reach out to conventions by filling out their panel applications or cold calling them through an email and telling them what we do and that we'd like to bring it to their event. This time around, however, Ozokucon actually emailed me to see if we would bring our event to their first year convention. And I would have never even known they existed had they not reached out to me. So shout out to y'all. I love going new places and bringing it to new people and all that kind of jazz. And we had a good conversation over the phone with the director, creator, or whatever you call the head person running the convention. If you are a vendor or an artist alley person for different conventions, you might know some of the details in the talks. You don't usually get to have one-on-one conversations. You don't usually get phone calls. It's all emails, and it's usually big group emails. But in this case, since Matthew had reached out to me, we were able to exchange numbers and just chat on the phone. And if y'all know me even a little bit, I am not good at text, okay? My tone reads like I am a boomer harassing their child for looking like a goth, okay? It doesn't matter what I send, I'm very bad with text. So I prefer voice messages and phone calls. So this was lovely to do. I'm so glad he agreed to it. And we vibed on really well, and I was very excited for this convention. So if you don't know, I separate conventions into specific categories. There are celebrity or guest conventions where the point is to go meet your voice actors, your celebrities, your special guests, right? That's the majority of what they cater to. There are activity conventions where there are a lot of things to do. So there are crafting workshops, there are anime panels, there are, make a Pokeball or karaoke or video games or whatever have you. Those are activity conventions. And then there are party cons, which is something where the majority of what you're meant to do happens later in the night, but you are getting served alcohol from like 11 a.m. and, like lighting it up, and just like the rave goes till 1 billion in the morning. That's a party con. So these are kind of the three categories. Ozokucon did have a huge amount of voice actors, and they had a lot of voice actors that don't always get showcased at other conventions, which was really cool. I loved that aspect of it. But Ozokucon falls into this category of kind of a mix between a few. This is the type of convention that really balanced your activities versus your celebrities and your special guests. So they had a huge range of voice actors, like I said, but they also had a lot of activities going on. We were in activity. They had a bunch of panels you could do. They had an outside tent and food trucks with like a lot of sensory stuff and karaoke. They had a huge cosplay competition with monetary prizes. Like there was a video game room, arcade cabinets. So I really think this had a good balance of like leaning into an activity convention with a good array of guests. So we got these little vendor badges. You can see them on screen now. They're very cute. They've got the front on them with the Ozokucon logo and all that jazz. And they did the thing that a lot of conventions are doing nowadays. Conventions, please keep doing this. They're putting times for like exhibitors and show floor and stuff on the back of the pass. That is super helpful because it lets us just be able to turn around and look at it instead of trying to remember all these times and dates and things that have got to be happening. So keep doing that. Keep putting that on passes. Loading in. Let's talk about the actual loading in process. We got there on Thursday to bring everything inside, set up our room, set up the booth, etc. So we bring a cart with us. We always ask the convention if they have extra carts just in case. This convention did not, so we have a cart with us. We were able to very easily pull up into the like kind of loading area and take things up the big ramp and inside the loading dock. So that was very simple, very easy. They didn't have an issue with us, like, because it was raining during some of it. They didn't have an issue with us bringing in some pieces and then like getting everything out of the rain and then moving to our room. So that was nice. And everybody was quick and responsive. We didn't have a lot of traffic. We did get there a little later in the time frame of when you could be there, so that's probably why we didn't have too much traffic. We didn't have any issues with it. It was clean, fast, simple, and yeah, that's really all I have to say about load-in. It was great. I'll say the same for load-out. We'll do it right now instead of at the end of the video. Loadout was the same way. Once we were given the go-to on like the con is closed, you can start packing things up. We were able to take the whole booth down, start loading things on carts, and we had no issues getting through hallways. Even with more people still being at the convention, they were getting out of our way, or even better, a lot of people volunteered to help us, which is super sweet. I really appreciate when y'all do that. And we were given permission to go out an exit that was closer to us, because usually we have to go all the way through the hotel and the convention center down to the loading docks when we do cons, because we're not allowed to bring things through like hotel doors. We have to go through loading docks. But shout out to this DoubleTree. They let us go through, I think it was still the convention side, but it was the closer like glass doors, which was really nice because we got done very quickly. So smooth load in, smooth load out, vendors, artists. I don't think there's a big issue with it. I think we're good. It was held in a big convention center attached to a DoubleTree hotel. And usually what happens with conventions that are attached to hotels is we end up on the hotel side, because the hotel side is a lot quieter. They're rooms with actual like walls and a door. They're smaller. They're going to be more soundproof, which is needed since we're recording. We can't be in a big vendor hall space because we'll pick up all that extra noise from people walking around and talking and echoing and all that kind of jazz. I ask for it. I ask not to be in big halls, even though I've been offered it before, because it just works easier for us that way. So we were on the hotel side, which was a little bit of a hiccup for us. It didn't end up being too big of a problem, but we kind of had the same issue that we tend to have at smaller conventions. And I'll get into that here with Ozokucon being a first-year convention. You have to give some grace to a first-year con, right? Something's gonna go wrong. There are mistakes that are gonna be made. There are little things you're gonna forget about. So full grain of salt and grace given to the organizers and the staff and the volunteers running this convention, because yeah, it's gonna happen, right? It's your first time and you have to be proud of yourselves just for running a con. That is a huge feat that like not a lot of people get to do, okay? So be proud of yourselves. But we are gonna go through little bits and pieces to be improved on and worked towards if Ozokucon has more years. And the first thing that was a hiccup for us was there was not signage. There were no signs for us whatsoever. And we've had this issue at other conventions where there's no signs leading to our direction. There's no signs saying what room they're in. There's no signs saying we're still a part of the convention. Our side with the hotel essentially was like a ghost town because nobody knew that we were still part of the convention. There were no signs telling anybody we were with Ozokucon. No arrows, no nothing. And there was no map, from what I understood. Now, I've been told that there was a map. I've not seen it. I've not seen it with my own two eyes. The only map that was ever present on the Eventi app thing they were using was the map for where the artists were and the sellers were in the vendor hall and like the celebrities. But a map of one hall is not a map of the building. So because I'm a little freak who goes in and like finds every detail I can, I already had a floor map of the convention center we were in and the hotel. Because you can get that stuff. It's literally on public websites. So I got it. So I had it. So I was trying to direct people to certain locations because people were stopping past us and walking past us going, where's this one? Where's that one? Staff sent us that way. Staff said they didn't know. We're so confused. This is labeled this way. Like some things were labeled A and 1 and 2 instead of the right, like A and B. And I was sending people back and forth. I'm like, no, you're going that direction. Like, I don't know why they sent you this way. So definitely there were hiccups, which again, happen at cons that aren't in their first year. So it's something to be learned and improved upon is there needs to be signage everywhere. I don't know why we ever stopped giving out handheld brochures with maps in them. Maybe it was a COVID thing that people stopped and they put it all on apps and shit. Please, can we go back to handheld brochures, and maps. Okay, I want you to hand me a playbill like I'm going on to Broadway. Please. It will help so much with directing people on the right places to go, having a physical schedule layout of like, this is what panel is running at this time. If the room doesn't say that, it's because it hasn't cleared yet. Like, it would just be so much easier. And I get that schedules change. I totally get that. And that rooms change. But if something changes, what you do is you type a little thing into a Google Doc that says, such and such panel moved to such and such time in such and such room. And then you print it out on a piece of paper and you take tape and you tape it to the panel room it was supposed to be on according to your paper schedule. And people will see that and they'll go to a different room. Because the argument for digital schedules is because, well, you can just update it. Yeah, but that's not a good enough reason. Every single con we go to seems to have no idea how to put signs up. So we have resorted to bringing our own. We bring easels, we bring our own signs, we write arrows. We even asked in this convention the hotel staff where we were allowed to hang them and why. So just if you're an artist alley person, if you're a vendor person, if you are running a panel, bring a sign. Even if you print out a sheet of paper from, like I said, Paint or Google Docs or whatever, bring it with you. I wouldn't bring tape because most places don't let you tape things to walls, but bring like sticky tack, stuff that just peels right off and it doesn't take paint or anything with you. Bring something like that will stick to your paper and to your wall. Make sure it sticks to paper. I don't know if sticky tack sticks to paper, but you know what I mean. Bring it all in your little folder for the panel you're going to run or the booth you're going to thing, and ask staff if you are allowed to put signs up. Because we were allowed to put them anywhere. Once we went to, and shout out to Ozokucon staff, by the way. Once we went to Ozokucon staff and said, hey, you don't have signs for us. Can we put up our own signs? Literally the first words out of their mouth, shout out to Ricky. Ricky said, anywhere you want. He said, put them up on doors, put them up in hallways, put them up on the floor. We don't care. You can put your signs wherever you want. We want people to come to you. So shout out to them. The staff was really lovely. They helped us anytime we had questions and anything we needed. That was really nice. So they let us put up our signs. Now, I will say they did have big banner signs that were like, hey, no photography, or like, hey, don't touch people in cosplay, which is good. Those are helpful. Again, we should have signs for what area is what. Like, I want a big ass sign that says the list of panels on it, or a big ass sign that says this is the artist alley. You know what I mean? It'll help things go a little smoother next time. We had a lot of people come down on Saturday who not only did it once, but like kept coming back multiple days in a row, or they came back the same day and did multiple sessions. Shout out to one person, you know who you are, who did 11 pieces of dialogue in one session. 11, y'all. She's a queen, a goddess, okay? And she came back to do more. Incredible. Also, shout out to my lovely friends at the end who helped us with unloading and carrying, who were there and chatting it up. There were so many groups of people this time around who were just friendly and engaging, and you all were amazing. I edited everyone's audio. Everyone's audio sent out for anyone who was there. But we had definitely a more engaging day on Saturday. We also got to bust out our 18 plus scripts on Saturday, which had a lot of people coming back to check out the 18 plus scripts. For those who don't know, I bring PG and PG-13 or family-friendly scripts to all of the events that I do. And I bring 18 plus, but I do not even tell people we have them unless the convention is specifically like, yeah, you're allowed to. So this con was like, yeah, after 8 p.m., you can do 18 plus stuff. And I was like, cool. So we let people know that we had them. And a bunch of people came back after 8 p.m. on Saturday for the 18 plus scripts, and we're gonna have some spicy audio, okay? I'm excited. Now, let's talk a little about the drama. We had an older woman come up to our door and talk to us in a negative tone that essentially was like, are you guys gonna be here all weekend? My daughter is having a wedding. Can you close the door? And y'all know I don't do confrontation. I will turn on my customer service voice and I'll say, of course, yeah, it's no worries. She was a little upset. She did say, I'm not upset at you, which I appreciate her for saying. As we talked to the staff, we wanted to make sure they were okay. And the staff were okay. But they made a plan with us. I assume they talked to the convention staff and made a plan with them on what actionable steps we can take to let both events happen simultaneously and sort of be comfortable with each other. And I will say, to everyone's credit, I did not hear of any bad words or mishandlings happening when the wedding happened on Saturday. As far as I know, it went off without a hitch. Congratulations to the married couple. I never met you, only your mother-in-law or your mother, I don't know which. And I hope it was wonderful. To be fair to all sides, I could see being upset if you had booked a wedding and you were not told that a convention or another event was happening on the exact same weekend of your wedding. All I will say is, if you come at something when you are in a high stress situation like that with grace, and I don't think you have to be calm because it's high stress, but you come at it with like less anger, you will find there are a lot of people here to help you. That's the advice I would give. But thankfully, as far as I am aware, everything went fine. And we did not get yelled at any further. I don't know about the rest of folks. That was pretty much the majority of the details of the event for Ozokucon this year. I do know they've been taking surveys for feedback, and they're all about changing and listening. I don't know if they'll run again next year, but if they do, I hope we will be there. I will say I want to give a shout out to all of the incredible, awesome people who we met there and participated in our event and came back and did it multiple times. You guys are awesome. Truly, you made the event so fun, even if it was a little slow for us. And like, you're the type of people that I love to meet when I'm there. You have fun, you go in there, you give it your all, and we get some amazing ass audio produced. So shout out to my lovely group that should be in the thumbnail for this video. You guys rock, you know who you are, and everybody else that participated. And that's it for now. All right, y'all. Goodbye.